Nama Bengaluru, a city with many monikers. The Garden City, the Silicon Valley of India, the pub capital of India. These are just some of the names this vibrant city is known by. But beneath all this, there is a secret. Bengaluru has a rich, ancient past. Founded in 1537 as a fort built by Kempegowda, Bengaluru is older than cities like Hyderabad, Chennai, and Mumbai. And the best part is, you and I can walk down these streets today. The echoes of the past are everywhere. Prepare for a journey back in time as we rediscover Bengaluru's forgotten history. The Bengaluru Pettah was once fortified with a mud wall, a deep ditch, and between them, a thick hedge, or as I like to call it, the cacti patch. This formidable barrier was made up of thorny plants such as sekekai, bamboo, aloe, wild rattan, the prickly pear, and other kinds of bushes, forming an almost impenetrable jungle belt. This jungle belt was also home to monkeys, notorious for stealing food from the market and from unsuspecting passerby carrying anything edible. The hedge completely surrounded the Pettah, except for the south, where a causeway connected the Pettah to the Oval Fort. As for the gateways, the British described them as mud works with thin parapets to defend the avenues into the Pettah. According to the Bangalore Gazetteer, the hedge had been cleared away and the ditch filled up and built upon a few years prior to 1875. By 1935, the Pettah closely resembled what we see today. We begin our journey at the Nadaprabhu Kempegowda Majestic metro station. From here, we will walk clockwise around the Bengaluru Pettah and end our tour back here. But first, let's take a closer look at where we are. This is the Nadaprabhu Kempegowda bus station, more popularly known as Majestic. Today, this transport hub connects nearly every part of Bengaluru. And even other states too. However, before its inauguration in 1969, this place was a lake, the Dharmambudhi Lake. Revered as the Jiva Kere or lifeline, the Dharmambudhi Lake served as the primary source of drinking water for the Bengaluru Pettah. This British map from 1791 depicts the lake as a small body of water situated just outside the Pettah walls. However, later maps show that the lake had expanded significantly, with its water covering much of the area, including where the metro station is now. With no major rivers in the area, the early settlers constructed lakes. This map from 1935 shows the various lakes and tanks in the area that were interconnected by a network of channels designed to harvest rainwater efficiently. The Dharmambudhi Lake is believed to have been commissioned by Kempegowda. While many of the lakes are popularly credited to Kempegowda, inscriptions indicate that some lakes like the Belandur, Dodagobbi, Begor and Hebal date as far back as the 8th century. In fact, it's also possible that some of the lakes existed even before the earliest known inscriptions. By the early 20th century, Bengaluru began receiving piped water from the Hesarghatta lake. As a result, lakes in and around the city, including the Dharmambudhi lake, gradually lost their importance. The lake eventually dried up and was never replenished. After independence, the lake bed was used as an exhibition ground. In the 60s, a portion of the lake bed was converted to a bus terminal for the State Transport Corporation. In the 80s, the iconic semicircular city bus terminal was constructed on the remaining portion of the former lake. The bus terminal came to be known as Majestic, a name derived from the Majestic Theatre that was once located nearby. During periods of heavy monsoon rains, the area is prone to flooding, bringing the Dharmambudhi lake back to life, temporarily. The metro station was built into the old city, and I'm now walking alongside where the inner mud wall would have been. A British-era map indicated that a series of temples once stood on this stretch. This is one such place. This temple was dedicated to the lake deity associated with the Dharmambudhi lake. Across the street is another temple that also stood along the banks of the Dharmambudhi lake.
Right, here we go, folks. One of the oldest temples here in the city. Let's take a look.
We are now walking through an area known as Upparpete, the salt market. There is an old photograph of the police station here. The police station has since been renovated and significantly expanded.
This is the Balepete Road. Now, Bale means bangles, and back in the day, this is where the bangles were made.
Continuing on the Balepete Road, we arrive at the Sri Ganpataya temple at the end of the road. The ditch would have been where the road is today. The metro wall marked the edge of the Dharmambudhi lake. We are now walking on what would have been the ditch surrounding the Bengaluru Pete. This is the Kempegowda Road or KG Road. This street was famous for its cinema halls. However, in recent years, the rise of multiplexes across Bengaluru led to a sharp decline in footfall here. Today, only a few of these cinema halls remain. This is the B.V.K. Iyengar Road. This road is named after Bindiganavale Venkatappa Krishna Iyengar, the first Kannadiga and Indian to serve as Deputy Commissioner in the Mysore state. His residence, Manorama, was a mud bungalow that stood at the junction of KG Road and what is now the B.V.K. Iyengar Road.
This is the B.V.K. Iyengar Road. It's one of the newer additions to the old city. Rest of the city you have narrow lanes and it's a lot of crowd and there's just not much space. Here you have a beautiful 4-lane road with a divider right in the middle.
In 1935, when Maharaja Krishnaraja Wadiyar IV had visited the city, he was not happy about the narrow lanes and the crowd that made it difficult to move in and out. The road underwent an expansion. The residents and traders were not happy about losing their land and went to court in 1935. The court battle went on till 1955. The widened road was completed by the end of 1960 and opened to two-way traffic without a formal inauguration ceremony.
Folks, we are now approaching the northern gate marked by the Anjaneya temple.
The Yelehanka Gate marks the beginning of the Avenue Road, what was formerly known as Dodapete Road. Like the Balepete Gate, there is a temple here too.
Behind me is the Anjaneya temple. Anjaneya is Hanuman.
During the Vijayanagara period, it was common for major gateways to have an Anjaneya temple to watch over them. The 1791 siege of Bengaluru began right here at the Yelehanka Gate, a pivotal moment in Bengaluru's history which we will explore in an upcoming episode.
The thing about history is it makes your imagination run wild. Now, whenever I see a little bit of greenery over here, my mind automatically thinks that I'm actually entering the city. As I was researching about this place to see what to film when I'm on site, there was one thing that completely caught me off guard. Did you know Mahatma Gandhi's ashes were actually scattered here in Bengaluru Pete? I'm actually in the Cubbonpete Road and the corner of the 12th Street. There is a memorial to Mahatma Gandhi. I'm approaching the 12th Street and here it is. That's the memorial.
This ordinary school has a secret. Gandhi had visited Bengaluru 6 times between 1915 and 1936, leaving a lasting impression on the local community. Inspired by Gandhi's ideals, the locals established an ashram in 1944. Following Gandhi's assassination and cremation in 1948, a little bit of his ashes was brought here. In front of the ashram, the ashes were buried deep into the earth and a small memorial was built. In 1992, a foundation stone was laid for the construction of a new building, which was inaugurated in 1997. We could still see the memorial, quietly preserving a piece of history in Bengaluru Pete. Alright, let's head back to the ditch surrounding the Bengaluru Pete.
Now before we head to the eastern gate that way, we're going to take a little detour.
Just outside the Pete lies another lake. This is the Sampenge Kere or the Sampige Lake. The lake once covered most of the area. Today, just a small portion of the lake remains. The lake was a source of water for the local Tegalar community, who were traditionally horticulturists.
Well, that stadium back in the day would have been underwater. This whole area would have been part of the Sampige Kere, Sampige Lake. In fact, the Vittal Malya Road would have been underwater. Fun fact is, during the monsoon, after heavy rains, this area gets heavily flooded. It's almost as if it goes back to being a lake every monsoon.
Sources claim that when the British were here, the lake was drained and was repurposed as a polo ground. Today, the small remaining portion of the lake continues to play a role in the annual Karaga festival.
Alright folks, we are back from our little detour at the Sampege tank. The place I'm currently standing right now is the Eastern Gate, and the road behind me actually is the OTC Road. It's a major artery through the old city, and I'll explore that in detail in a future episode. But for now, let's enter the city through here near the Halasuru Gate police station. Now Halasuru, there are a couple of reasons as to why the name is Halasuru Gate. One is that it faces the Halasuru area. Another theory is that there were a lot of jackfruit orchards around here, hence the name Halasuru. Of course, I will not be able to confirm that right now.
Just across the police station, once stood a prominent landmark. A 35-foot tall cenotaph erected in the memory of those who died during the siege of Bangalore in 1791. Sadly, the cenotaph was demolished in 1964 during protests led by Kannada activists. We are back on the Cubbonpete Road, the same road we were on earlier.
Alright, here we are back in the old city. Back in the day, I wouldn't have been able to even step foot in here because this whole area would have been the cacti belt. This one is actually wider than the rest of the city, so I'm guessing there are a lot of important structures here. Now on the map, you see that there is a religious structure in here. And as you can see, this religious structure is actually a dargah. I'm actually behind the Hazrat Hamid Shah Dargah. What looks like a peaceful parking lot today, I wouldn't have been able to step foot in here. It would have been a prickly cacti forest here. And the idea was to deter invaders. We walked in from behind the Halasuru Gate police station. Behind me, all this would have been cacti belt.
We turn at the first cross and follow the road that runs alongside the inner wall on the eastern side.
Now this fork in the road which I'm approaching is quite fascinating. If I were to walk on the other side, I would actually be heading towards the powder mill.
Powder works, also known as powder mills, were manufacturing facilities where gunpowder was produced.
So here I am in the Cubbonpete, and gone are the powder mills, and in its place are, well, you can hear them, the constant clacking of the loom machine.
We have been granted special access into one of the weaving workshops. The saris produced here are sold in the bustling markets of Chickpete. We will explore that in the next episode.
You see a building from 1943. That's the beauty about this place. Even though it's the old city, it's actually a cross-section of the history of Bengaluru. You'll see a temple that predates the city by a few centuries, and then you'll find a building from actually the 1800s and then 1940s. It's quite fascinating. You'll never ever be bored of walking in the old city. Well, let's get our bearings straight. So that's the road we walked from. Everything on this side would have been the cacti forest. I wouldn't have been able to step foot in there back in the day. Behind me is the artery of the city, the OTC, or the Old Taluk Kacheri Road. But let's focus on our video. We are going to walk down this way, the outer boundary of the city.
The SP Road marks the inner wall.
We are on the SP Road, what is today known for its hardware and electrical supplies.
And the S.J.P. Road marks where the ditch would have been.
We are walking on the S.J.P. Road, which would be the outer boundary of the old city, the southern boundary of the old city. Last time I came here just after the pandemic, it was a mess. They were renovating the whole place. Today, thankfully, there's a proper footpath, and yeah, it's a much better experience today. Bengaluru back then was known for its fresh fruits, vegetables, and flowers. Well, the spot we are going to head to is still as popular as ever. It's the KR market. Irrespective of the time of the day, there's always a crowd here. I haven't reached the market yet, but it's already chaotic. People have already started selling the flowers here. By the way, you should smell this place. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. But it's very hard to appreciate all that when you have to have almost a 360. You have to have almost a 360-degree situational awareness. So you got people here selling flowers. You got cars. You got other people trying to walk past you. Yeah, it's definitely an attack on the senses. That's the KR market back there. We are almost there. But before that, I want to show you this. This is the Avenue Road that connects the north to the south end of the city. The northern gate is what we saw earlier at the Anjaneya, just outside the Anjaneya temple. And you just can't walk. It's so busy. We'll explore this as well in another episode. Now on the other side, now this is where we have to go through to reach the KR market. Behind me is actually the Bengaluru Fort across the street. And the Anekal Gate, the southern gate, would have been somewhere in the middle of the road there.
This is the KR market, one of Asia's largest flower markets. The KR market is said to have been built on the site of Siddhi Kate, a water tank constructed in the memory of Siddhi, a wealthy woman from the time of Kempegowda. By the early 1800s, a market existed in the area. In 1907, Devan P.N. Krishnamurthy visited the market and found it unsanitary. He initially proposed building a new market further south near Kalasipalayam. But the plan was later revised in favor of redeveloping the old market. Work on the new market began in 1918, and in 1921, a new formal structure was completed and named after Maharaja Krishna Rajendra Wadiyar, giving rise to the KR market we know today. This building was constructed in 1997 when the market was expanded and modernized with facilities like lifts and cold storage. Most of the stalls in the upper floors are unused.
Okay, so we are exiting the KR market, the building, from the other side. So we entered from the south, we are exiting from the northern entrance. Alright, that road behind me is the police road. We will eventually join it. But if you look at the map, there is a weird triangular block that kind of juts off the southern part of the city. So we're going to walk on the triangular city block. So we're going to take the next road, which is the Purna Venkata Rao road. This road is really out of character. When you have narrow lanes and old buildings, you've got a beautiful double lane of the divider, the B.V.K. Iyengar road. It just doesn't match. It doesn't fit in with the vibe of the old city. Now we are looking for a Neha medical. Oh, there it is. So we're supposed to take a right turn here and head north towards the police road. Now if you're wondering how do I know where I'm going, what I do is I superimpose the map the British gave us onto Google Maps, and then I try to calculate. So for example, how do I know this is the street? Police road, that's the road that's running perpendicular to us. Cottonpete Road is supposed to be parallel to us on the other side. This road is actually 1 block away from the Cottonpete Road, and one confirmation for me will be that there is a temple at the end of the road, which I'm beginning to see. So I know this is indeed the spot. Okay, so that's the road we walked out of, and this road which I'm on now is the police road, what is supposed to be the southern edge of the city. So let's recalibrate ourselves. That is the old city. That's where some of the buildings are actually original, like this temple, which you probably see here. There we go. That's the temple. That would have been part of the old city. And to my left, now that we have crossed the little triangular city block, everything to my left would have been the forest, the cacti forest belt. So that is the Cottonpete police station, and this road gets its name. The police road gets its name because of that police station. Now behind me is actually the Cottonpete Road. We'll explore that in another episode, of course, but for now let's focus on the edge of the city. So actually the city would have ended right here. This would have been the absolute end, and the gate would have been at least a block or two ahead. So let's go check out where the gate was.
The Cottonpete gets its name as this was the cotton market.
I have reached the end of the Cottonpete Road, and the gate for this road, what would have been the Mysore gate, would have been right over here. Well, I'm certain that this is indeed the spot where the gate existed, because just like the rest of the city, we got temples on either side. We got one temple here, and across the street we got another temple there. So yes, this is the spot of the gate. Alright, so we are now walking across to the Agrahara Gate, which is the southwestern gate of the old city.
Unfortunately, due to the dense modern construction, the spot is no longer accessible. The closest I can get to it is this junction. I'm currently walking along what would have been the avenue that passed through the cacti patch leading up to the Pete.
Right, the Balepete Road. We have officially reached the city limits of the old Bengaluru Pete, or should I say the Pete limits.
Urban development and the railway tracks have made it difficult to trace the ditch on the western boundary of the Pete. The westernmost point we can access is the Kere Gate. As per this map, the gate wouldn't have been accessible as the avenues were closed. Today, this avenue leads to Binny Mills, or what remains of it. The mills were established in 1884 as the Bangalore Woolen, Cotton and Silk Mills. The mills eventually closed down in 2005, and the buildings were demolished in 2016. These grounds serve as a venue for exhibitions and events such as this puja. The future of the site still remains uncertain. We are back on the TCM Royan Road. The TCM Royan Road follows the path of the inner wall.
Back there, on the other side of the road, is the western edge of the city. And on this side is the walls marking the boundary of the railways. You know, many times I wonder why they would destroy the city. Why would they break down, tear down the walls and all that? I know it's a little selfish as a history buff. We kind of want everything to remain intact. But that's not the way of the world, is it? Unfortunately, old has to be broken down to make way for the new. And you have seen this all over the world, actually. Even in places like Baghdad, which had a legendary circular city, only one mosque and one gate exists today. Everything else is completely obliterated. At least here we got a fairly decent amount still protected. And even though the walls are not here, we can still see a lot of the streets as they were. Frankly, these kind of make me want to believe that these are the original walls, the inner walls, that is. So that is the western edge of the OTC road. It ends over here in the western boundary. Alright folks, we are back in the northern part of the old city. This over here is the entrance, the northern entrance to the Cottonpete Road. Now if I cross the road and go to the other side, that's the metro station. We'll end our tour there. But I'm going to take a slight detour. Like I said, the metro station is actually built into the cactus patch, which means there should be something from the old city on this side towards the railway station. Well, if you notice that every gate has a temple near it. So if my theory is right, we should be able to find at least one temple up ahead. Let's find out. Looks like I was right. There is a temple over here, an Ayyappa temple. So this should be the absolute northern edge of the Pete. Alright, actually the priest was really sweet inside. He told me that photography is actually prohibited, but he allowed me to take a small short footage from here at the outside. What he did tell me was that this is the newer location of the temple. The older location is actually where the bell is under the water tower. So the old Ayyappa temple would have been here near the bell, and this would have actually marked the end of the city.
While the physical walls of the Pete are long gone, the spirit of the old city is still here. Its streets continue to buzz with the trades and energy that once defined this place. In the next episode, we enter the Bengaluru Pete. Join us as we go shopping and explore the city's historic markets.
680. Well, how about that? You can still get your bangles here at Balepete.